Hello and welcome to Social Media for Humans, the podcast that empowers you to do social differently. Your host, Alexis Bushnell, and her guests discuss their experience of social media as business owners, users, and ultimately humans, with insights and advice to help you find an effective and ethical strategy that works for you. Grab yourself a drink and join the conversation.
Hello. I am here with wonderful, talented Catherine. Do introduce yourself.
Alexis, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with you today. I am Catherine, as you say. I am a brand photographer for social media and website marketers who are marketing online, looking for awesome visuals, getting them to stand out and connect with their audience. A little bit of personality, a little bit of fun, something different, and not all just photos. Do quite a bit of other stuff too, Alexis. So,
You do.
Yes.
So, as a photographer, you must run into some sort of copyright issues where people are maybe finding your photos on Google or your website or even on your social media and think, oh, that's a great photo. I am going to use that on my own social media or my website or somewhere. And that is not legal as far as I'm aware. So would you like to sort of explain why it's not really okay to start stealing photos from anybody, but especially from professional photographers?
Oh, Alexis, this is so many, like, whole question is like so many bits of wonderful. The whole, first of all, yes, I am a photographer. I am not a solicitor. I don't deal with law, but I do understand what are my rights as a photographer, and then what, hopefully, a little bit about what you can do with photographs and how you can ethically and carefully, properly use them without stealing, which is a lovely word that you used in this, without stealing those photos. Yeah, and before I do sort of talk a bit about that, I don't want people to feel I think people feel photographers and other creatives can come across a bit grouchy when it comes to copyright. I think it can be a bit like, photographer, it's just a photo. I've just found it on Google. Like you say, I've just found it on Google. Shouldn't I just be using it? Yeah. I think if you kind of think a little bit more about who created that, the time, the effort, the expense in their investment in themselves, because all creatives, not just photographers, invest a lot of time, a lot of money into their work. So by taking a photo from somewhere and posting it on your social media, potentially for the gains of your business, for you to make sales at the end of the day, you are doing a disservice, the very least, a disservice to that creative. So, you take a photo. Let's go with the Google example, because actually I have a good example from someone. I belong to a group of photographers. I'm going to give them a mention. Photographers United Pro on Facebook. Any photographer, come and join the group, because there's a lot of this sort of thing, getting stuck on somebody's stolen my photos. Now what do I do? Type question. So this happened to someone from the group here. He took a photo of fish and chips for an ad campaign. I think it was an ad campaign or an editorial for a big supermarket. Now that lovely fish and chips photo then started being stolen and has now, because it's been stolen and used across lots of different people's websites, so different fish and chip shops, I think some Japanese, looking at British sites, like very British sites, because that has now been used on Google, on various websites and in various social media places. That has now devalued the piece of work, that photo, that's fish and chip photo. So
yeah,
I think this let me make this make sense. Sorry. So this guy, he's taken his photo. The supermarket would have bought a license to use that photo. They would have bought a license for the use of it within their campaign, the scope of that use. So like if they wanted to use it around the world, or, you know, however far that's going, they've completely nailed down what they have paid for their use of it. Now, if somebody just goes, well, I'm just going to put it on my fish and chip website, well, they haven't paid, let's say they haven't paid for any type of use of it, then now it appears on one fish and chip site. So then the next fish and chip site thinks, oh, I'm going to use that now. And the next fish and chips, I'm going to, oh, it's fine, it's just on there, it's on Google, no one, it doesn't belong to anyone, there's no credit on there, so it can't belong to anyone, doesn't matter if I use it, it's only a tiny photo in the corner of my website, you know, doesn't matter. Now if that photographer now wants to go and sell that to, let's say, not necessarily another supermarket, but to another, somewhere else, maybe they want a fish and chip brand that would like to use that photograph or that set of photos. That company, that brand, goes to Google and goes, oh, but hold on, it's being used all over the place. I don't want that photo. So then they don't pay and buy it. Whereas quite simply asking permission for that photo might get you, if you're a very, very small brand, that photographer who might not necessarily want their 10, 15, 20 quid out of it, let's say, they might say, yeah, go for it, just use it, that's fine, give you permission, please put a credit on there for me. Or they might say, okay, where are you using it, how far are you using it, what's the scope of your use, and I'll give you a price that suits that. You'd be like, yeah, that's fine, I can pay that. So, you know, you are completely devaluing that by taking it. That's the long story short, really. You know, you're devaluing it.
Yeah. So it's having a financial impact as well as an emotional impact, I guess, on the creatives and the photographers who are putting in that work. It is actually financially impacting them as well.
Absolutely. As I said, you know, creators, photographers, you know, invest heavily. They, you know, investing their time, their money in themselves and in their business. Why shouldn't they be paid for the use of their work? Why shouldn't we empower the creators to make a sustainable living? You know, by paying them justly, we would, you know, that's how we should be thinking. That as marketers, you know, people who are, you know, using the social media. And if you have a brand, if you have a business, if you are selling and you are making money, why should the creator of it, let's go beyond photos. Let's say somebody's made a diagram or a drawing. You know, people don't necessarily see those as something that's owned by someone, but they are. I think we very easily, perhaps or more easily, understand copyright when it comes to like music, because you know, in the old days when we used to do the stop, play, tape, listen, we knew we shouldn't be taping it off of the radio. We shouldn't be taping it. But we weren't going to do anything. That's our private use, and you know, nothing. We shouldn't have been taping. We should have been paying for the use of that. But we now know because of that we don't expect to take a piece of music, play it over our video, and not pay a license fee for that music. People do it, you know, and sometimes they'll get caught doing it, and then they have to pay for it or to remove it. And that's the same as a photo. If you get caught, because you possibly will get caught if you steal a photo, you know, or borrow or use, or however you want to put it, you know, you can possibly, there are actually, and this is useful for any photographers who are listening or other creators are listening, you know, there are companies out there who will search for you, and they do take a commission from from any fees having to be paid or anything that, you know, that gets found. But there are companies out there who will help you to track down if you're a bit bigger than me. I'm only a small photographer, Alex. I call myself a small photographer because, you know, in the world of brands, I work with small businesses. So it's different for me. I work very personally with people. It's quite easy for somebody to say to me, Catherine, I love that photo. Can I pay for a use of it? Yes, you can. That would be lovely. Please do. You know, it happens quite a lot at things like events. If I take photos at events, people will go, oh, can I use that photo? And yeah, sure. £10-15, that's usually my use fee. If you're using it on a blog, it's not a huge amount for me, but for some perhaps a slightly more artistic or commercial or editorial photographer, it's a big deal. It's our living, it's living. It's our right to be paid and compensated for the work that we do. And it's also it's that recognition, and it's the compensation for what we do. That's the kind of key thinking.
I think some of it sort of for small business owners, I know a lot of people, they're conscious of the cost, and I think when it's not a tangible thing, it's easier to not see it as theft or as breach of copyright or whatever. But I think if you think of it in terms of whatever you sell, if somebody started creating the exact same thing and selling it to other people, you would have a problem with that. If somebody took something from your shop and started and sold it on, that would be a problem. And it is the same thing, even though it's not a hard copy thing. It's still somebody's property. Somebody has put the work in, the effort in, the time in to create something. It belongs to them. You have to ask for permission to use it or pay for the right to use it.
Absolutely, that's a very good way, clear to make sense. If it does, it makes sense that if somebody is taking something that you have created, whatever it is, in any way, whether it's even your words, we know that you put your heart and soul into a blog or into your website or into some sort of lead magnet or something that you've written, and you then find somebody has copied that or used it somewhere, and you're like, well, hold on a minute, I have created that. I think if there's three sort of things to think about. If you are using a photo, there are three, and it's business related. You're doing one of three things, most likely. You're doing some sort of PR. So why are you doing that? Because you want to gain reputation. What's that going to do for you? Increase your sales with any luck. If you are doing some sort of ad, that's more of a fairly obvious, I'm going to pay for that use, because you're going to pay to advertise using a photo, let's say, or a drawing or a picture or something that's been created. What's it going to do for you? Increase your sales. If you are making money, this is the theme. Are we getting the theme? In terms of commercial use, if you're going to take a photo, take a drawing, take a diagram, take something, and you're going to put it on the side of a mug and then sell it, you are making money from somebody else's work. So anything you are doing, and I think the one that's the grey area is that PR one, because you think, oh, I've not made money from that, putting that on my Instagram, or I've put that on my Facebook. I've not made any money from that. I've just put it there. I've just used it in the background underneath some text and turned it into a meme or what, I've not made any money from that. What are you doing? You're gaining reputation because you are going to make sales. That's in a nutshell. Is that making good sense? I think. Yeah.
And I think that is something that, I think because so many people use social media for personal as well, it does create confusion around it. And there is this sort of attitude of, well, it's only social media. It's only an Instagram post. Why does it matter if I grab a photo from Google and share it? Why does it matter if I screenshot this and share it? Because there is that sort of conflation and that confusion around personal and business and what counts, kind of thing. But yeah, if your business social media it is all a PR exercise. It is all promotion, even the stuff that isn't promotion. Your business social media presence, whether that's a photo of you and your family going for a walk, or whether it's buy my stuff, it's amazing, it is all working together to grow your brand and to get you known and to therefore make you sales. Just because that one photo that you use didn't have a buy my stuff call to action on it, doesn't mean it is not leading to more sales. right now or in the future. And so if you are sharing stuff on your work socials, on your business's social media, you need to realize that it is driving sales. It is essentially an ad, whether it's an outward ad or not. So yeah, it is, and I do think around sort of small business, I was like, big businesses and corporations are really bad at this as well. I have seen a lot of people stealing stuff.
Yes.
But I do think small businesses do struggle with it. And I think some of it is the money issue is, well, I'm not really making enough to, you know, to get someone in to buy some photos to whatever. And part of it is we don't have a lawyer on staff. We haven't been through a training program about copyright and what is okay. We're sort of all figuring it out as we go. So what sort of excuses, reasons, problems do you think sort of have that they're like, well, I can use it in this instance, or I could probably use that one, but I won't use that one. Like, how are people reasoning with themselves to allow themselves to breach copyright?
Yeah, these excuses, these whole, I think, I mean, the Google, we said about the Google one, I found it on Google, it must be okay to use it. Well, no, I think we've kind of covered that, really, the whole Google one. But I don't know who owns it. That's a good one. That's a I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who owns it. Well, you can do a little bit of digging, a little bit like Google searching, and you may find the original creator. If and this does happen, it's become what they call an orphaned work. So it means nobody really does know who it belongs to. And it might be that it's an older photo. It might be something, it's lost its ownership as such. You can actually apply for an orphaned work license by the government. So that is really, if you're going to use an older photo, don't just go and use it, because you could find yourself at the end of a lawsuit that you don't want to hurt yourself up. Just apply for the license. It's not difficult. Go on the government website, fill in the form, and that's it. And then you can use the photo, assuming the license is agreed. Then you can, they may say, oh, we do know who this belongs to, and there you go. You get the permission, and it's okay. So that's definitely worth looking at that. Oh, it was taken on a phone. That's a good. Oh, right, so it was only taken on a phone. It's not a proper, it's not. I think people forget that the copyright is owned by the person who took the photo. The actual photograph taker. So whoever took the photo owns the copyright of the photo. When you are having, like they say, a brand shoot, and you agree with your photographer will have a license for you. Some photographers will say, hey, have all the copyright. There you go, use them, do whatever you like with them. And that's fine. And in a sense, I would do that, but I don't give the copyright. I give a license to say, you can do pretty much whatever you like with them. I want to know the scope of what you're agreeing. Most photographers want to know the scope of what you want to do. So their questions to you would be, where are you using them? Is it digital? Is it a print? What's the scope of that print? How long do you intend to be using them? Is it going to be like a 3-year license, a 5-year license, maybe a 10-year license? The location, is it UK? Is it European? Is it US? Worldwide? Are you wanting to use them everywhere? Because if you think about all of those different permutations, and what the bigger the use, if you're going to put it on a billboard, it's a much bigger use than if you're just going to put it on your Instagram account. So I'm going to want to charge you a lot more if you want to put it on a billboard. We'd love if you do. Also they probably get you to agree any artistic changes that you might want to make as well. So if you, as we all seem to do, even when you have, this amazes me, you have a lovely brand set of photos taken, and yet you'll still stick a filter on it when you put it on your Instagram. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that. It's okay. People do, you know, I spend hours editing a photo. Somebody will do something. Like, oh well, it works. As long, yeah, what your photographer will probably do is agree that it's within your agreed brand structure and also within keeping of my, like, you know, my style. This, you know, might not be, as long as it's not let's say used unethically or used against any of my beliefs, or, you know, in that sort of sense. That would be, might be some of the artistic changes that you might have as a caveat. But yeah, it was taken on my phone. It's the same. It applies the same. You take the photo, the photo belongs to you. If a wedding photographer has taken a ton of wedding photos, and you see it on their website, oh, I'm just going to screenshot and take that off of there. Well, you're discrediting that you're probably not even putting a credit to, and that drives me a little bit bananas. Okay. You're not even crediting that wedding photographer when you go and share that. You've done, this is a nice photo of so and so. Well, yeah, that person did some work, and they at least deserve for you to message them and say, can I do this, please? How much might it cost me, or can I, you know, the photographer might go, yeah, go ahead, please do share, just credit me, I'm happy with that. That might be just the very least. You know, things like, there was no copyright mark, no little C in the corner, there was no copyright mark, there was no this photo belongs to, or, you know, well, I think that's a little bit of an old, you know, that's a little bit, we're going beyond that excuse now. You know that copyright exists now. So see, that's not an excuse, and it won't hold up in a court of law. As far as I know, I'm not a lawyer. Yeah. Oh, there's another one, a good one. How about I took a photo of a photo? Ooh, Alexis, who does the copyright belong to?
Oh, that's a good question. I would guess the copyright owner of the photo, the original photo.
Yes, exactly that. It's frowned upon, and that goes with taking a photo of a piece of art as well. So, you know, like when I say art, I mean traditionally a painting or something. So, you know, don't you know, it's, if you are taking a photo of something, then you need to have permission to take that photo of a photo or of a piece of art or a piece of something. So yeah, that's not a way of getting around. Not a way of getting around it at all. Yeah, I'll just say for a minute, you know, there is a little bit of confusion over things like stock photography sites and the words royalty free. I'm just going to go, because even just before this call, I thought I'm going to just check my meaning of royalty free, because royalty free in itself just makes you think free, don't have to pay, that's it, nothing. But that's not the case. Royalty free just is actually talking, again, you have to pay for the type of use and the scope of use on something. So going to stock sites is a great way of perhaps collecting some photos if you need photos and can't perhaps commission a set for yourself at this point. But you just be careful of the restrictions and look into the terms and conditions of that stock site and the photos that you're using, because again, sometimes it's not for like a commercial use. Again, going back to that, I'm putting it on a side of on a t-shirt or something. It might not have a commercial use. It might not be able to be used in an ad campaign. It might not be able to be used for PR unless you pay for that particular license. So be a little bit wary of like what you go and use, and also that the stock site hasn't somehow stolen those photos themselves. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say it like that. So be careful. You as the user, it comes down to you to actually have properly checked, and that also, just as a bigger sort of picture for people who have more than one person in their team, if you're a small business and you have other people, you as the owner of your website, you as the owner of your business are responsible to know and check the copyright of whatever it is you're using. So there, I think that's as clear as I can be.
No, I think that is right, and it is. I do think sort of stock photo sites can be a minefield, because they are they purport to be totally free. That's sort of how they market themselves. And I do think, again, I think it causes confusion for people, and I do think it sort of adds to this, oh well, I don't need to pay to use photos or whatever generally. So yeah, it is it's great to have those things available, but it is also sort of, it has a downside to it, I think, for the creatives.
Yeah.
Even though they're getting exposure,
Yeah.
and we love to get exposure. I do think it adds to that confusion and that sort of, well, you know, why also, like, why would I, you know, pay for photos if I can just get them, you know, for free on a stock photo site?
Absolutely, yeah.
So if people, and sort of small business owners especially, are looking to, like, they want to use some great photography, they're not really financially in a place right now to be able to commission a very talented photographer like you to take their photos for them. What are their options?
Right, there are options. See, this is the great thing. You know, there's no excuses for, let's go use that word again, stealing a photo. You know, there's loads of options. Like, so why not, if you talk to your clients, ask them, you know, if you've done something for them, get them to take a photo, or, you know, there's all sorts of ways to say, look, can you take a photo? Could you share a screenshot? Would you mind if I showed off something on your website? Would you mind, you know, use what you have been doing, whatever it is, whatever your work, you know, whatever, you know, I don't believe there's anyone that could come up with something that I can't think of an idea for how you could use something of how you're working. If you've got customers, a really obvious one is get them to shot their thing, their object, their product that they bought from you with, you know, smiling and happy. And obviously, because they have taken the photo, they need to just give you the permission. But if by default you say, would you mind, you can, you know, you have to ask, do you mind if I use your photo? I'm going to use it on my Instagram, is that okay? Yes is usually the answer. They've probably shared it to you, so they're happy for you to do that. You know, it's not difficult to create yourself a batch of photo content. You know, batch it up. You know, do a round robin each month of contacting your clients and say, hey, can I do this, and can I do that? You know, would you send me this? Could you know, lots of unboxing photos if you're a product, that sort of thing. I sort of, wow, look at me, my
I will say as well here that if somebody has shared, like if somebody has bought something from you, or they have shared a photo of something that you have done, even if they tag you on their social media, please still ask them before you repost that anywhere. Don't just sort of go, oh, well, they've tagged me, so I can use it, it's fine. Please send them a message or leave a comment that is like, do you mind if I use this on Facebook, Instagram, wherever? Because it's polite, and also, as Catherine has said, it is their copyrighted image, so please do ask.
That Alexis, I could hug you right now if I knew you were in the same. Honestly, that is exactly. You just have to ask. You know, it's really not hard. It is polite, and it's just doing the right thing. Yeah, that person's unlikely to chase you down and sue you for anything by putting it, but it's just a little bit of politeness in this world. We just need a little bit of thought for others, a little bit of consideration. It's not hard to do, really, is it? So I love that. I love it. Yes.
I think the other thing is, if you are out there leaving comments like that, other people see it, and they see that you are not just assuming that those photos are okay to use. You are interacting with your customers, and you are asking for permission from, and that builds your own brand reputation as well. That shows to people that you are an ethical business, that you do care about copyright and things, and and that is important as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it might be that there might be a reason that they say, yeah, please do use it, but please don't tag me in. There might be a reason that they don't want to be tagged in. You know, that sort of happens, or they might want to be tagged in. You know, so there's all you know, you've got to kind of be polite and be thoughtful about, you know, be a bit more mindful of other people and what they're doing, you know. So yeah, that's a great way. That's a perfect way to immediately bulk up your stock of photos to be using. And you can use that into your blogs, onto your website, if people don't give you that permission. If you've asked for permission, okay, well, I'm going to write about this and something, you know, do you mind if I put it into a post and into a blog and into my website, and I'm going to put it on LinkedIn, Facebook and Instagram? Is that okay? Yes, they'll say. You know, hopefully that would be, yeah, great, you've got some photo content. And, you know, be creative in using that photo content. You know, perhaps if it's sort of works out well enough, the photo itself might be able to be chopped into parts if they've given you permission to do that. You can actually go ahead and, you know, use, you know, zoom into the product or into the happy face or into the, you know, or whatever it is that you know, whatever it is that you're you know, be creative in your use of the photo if that's allowed. Okay, find photos on stock sites. Do it. It is okay, but just do that double checking of you know, do double check that the permission has been granted by the photographer for the use that you want it for. And you know, my only thing with using stock sites is it's quite obvious it's a stock site quite often. Photo, and I think sometimes you are missing a little bit of you're missing a bit of a marketing trick, because you're sort of alienating. I feel like it's a sort of slight way of alienating some of your potential clients, customers, because it doesn't feel real. I mean, I know the buzzword is authentic. Yeah, be authentic. If you want to be authentic, you've got to do it real. So yes, it might be in your brand colours, and that's lovely, but just be a little bit careful that it still feels like it's come from something that you have created. And so this brings me to my top tip of like what you should do if you can't actually commission a set. And please don't be put off commissioning a set, because commissioning a set, I'm going to put this in here, ladies. Yeah, commissioning a set might not be as expensive as you think, and it might absolutely be worth the investment. It's going to make you money, but get creating. How about getting creating for yourself? You know, there are lots of courses out there on how to take photos. I run my own courses. I do a selfie taking masterclass for those who want to try and put their own face, yeah, which is a huge marketing tool as well. You've got to put your face out there on social media, again, becoming authentic, being real, being that person, the go-to person, and bring your brand alive, that stuff, you know. So put, you know, invest an hour or two in a photography taking class, a phone photo taking class of some sort, whether it be for your product, whether it be for your brand, for something, you know, however it is you want to do it, and then use that, you know, again, spend 20 minutes a month taking a few photos with your phone, and you've got a batch for the month that you've made. You've not had to pay anything for. You don't have to ask yourself for permission. Woohoo! That sounds so good.
Yeah, and I think that when people are thinking as well, I think about like commissioning photos for themselves, I do think people forget that you could reuse those photos. I have had clients say to me, I've used all the professional photos that I had done. What do I do? And I say, use them again. I do think there is this sort of idea that you can share it once on your social media and then that's it. It's used, it's finished, you know. But it's not toilet paper, you know. You can reuse it.
It's not toilet paper. I'm going to put that on one of my web pages. It's not toilet paper. You are allowed to use your photos again. No, it's really cool. I think that's a good thought though, because again, if your photographer has worked with you and created a license for you to use them, then it would have been made clear that you can use them on your over and over. You can, there should be that again should be part of that license given to you, and then you'll know that you can use them over again. And again, like I said before, get creative with using your photos. I do. Am I allowed to mention a lead magnet I have, Alex? That people might find useful. Actually, I have a. If you go to my Instagram and you look on my Instagram bio, you will find a link that will take you through to a helpful PDF download that will help you to use your photos and use them in more than one way. So it's talking about how to crop your photos and think a bit creatively. So you don't necessarily always use the photo as it was given to you by the photographer. You might crop it down in different ways, use different sections for different reasons, use them as backgrounds, use them as banners and so on. So it'll help you to work out what you might be able to do. But be creative.
I will drop a link to that in the show notes so people can get there. But yeah, and I think that's sort of some of what stops people reusing things is that sort of, well, I've already shared it as it is. What else am I going to do with it? But there are so many different ways that you can use it, and you can also just reuse it as it is. Sort of a few months down the line, people aren't scrolling that far back on your social media. It's fine. Post it again. You paid for it. Use it.
That's so funny. People have actually think that. And now I'm wondering about I'm going to put that into my next newsletter to let people know you can use your photos again. It's okay.
When was the last time you used your professional photos? Use them again.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh dear. And then you get to the other extreme, Alexis, where people have been using their same professional photos for about 5 or 6 years and they don't look like themselves anymore. That's the other extreme. Yeah.
Please keep using them until you realistically need some new ones because they no longer accurately represent you. Yes.
Yeah. Oh bless. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So, well, this has been very interesting.
This has been super. This has been really super. I think you have I think you've covered so much with this. We've kind of
hopefully everybody is very, very informed now about copyright and options that they have for photos and that kind of thing. So where can they find you to find even more fabulous photo information?
Alexis, I'd love it if people wanted to find out a little bit more, then please come over to Entirely Catherine Photography over on Instagram. I am there quite regularly, popping up on my stories and IGTV and all sorts of things. And I do like to share some tips and helpful things. So if you are wanting to create for yourself, you might find some information over there that will help you. And obviously brand photography is my thing, so a little bit more of that if you want to know a bit more about that. But yeah, be great. Say hi, and if you have more questions about copyright, if I don't know the answer, I will find someone who does know the answer. I'll point you in the right direction. So please just DM me. I'm happy for that too. Really, really, awesome. And say hi. Just come say hi. Hi, I listened to Alexis' podcast. That would be so cool if someone did that. I'd love that. Please do that. Thank you.
Please DM Catherine and say you found her through the podcast.
That would be so cool. And yeah, I'll tell you what. If anyone puts, it's not like toilet roll or something. It's not like it's not like use toilet roll. In my DMs, I will know where they found this without telling me.
That should be the promo for the episode. Photos, brackets, not like toilet roll. I would also just like to say, Catherine does an amazing selfie course, and several of my clients have taken it and rave about how amazing it is. So if you are somebody who is not really confident about taking selfies, you're not a big fan of putting yourself out there on social media face-wise, do have a look at it. I will drop the link in the show notes.
I run them regularly, so there'll be another one very soon. So please do, and that will be that doesn't matter when you're listening to this podcast. There'll be another one soon.
And if you don't see the information, DM Catherine and ask her for it.
Thank you
very much for being here and sharing all of your wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexis. It's been so lovely. What a great way to spend an hour. Thank you.
If you want more regular reminders to find your own way to use social media, follow Alexis on your social platform of choice. All the links will be in the show notes. Until next time, be a human.